Hi, my name is Joseph Alai. Welcome to my channel. And today I want to talk about the world within and the reflection without. Now, the reason I bring this up is because oftentimes we find ourselves, and even I find myself sometimes reacting to this external world. And the idea is that this external world is only a reflection of the internal. So if we're getting lost in the external, then we have to reverse, back up, and objectively view this instead of looking from within. So if you haven't done so already, absolutely hit that like button. It does something with the algorithm from which those who would not be able to see this video will be able to see this. And also hit the bell icon and subscribe to get more laser focused, systematic, predictable systems on how to manifest anything that you want. So let's just jump right into it. Now I've got the VIP group going on. We're doing the revision masterclass in November 1st and 3rd, I believe. So absolutely check that out. But the reason I bring this up is because the Discord community where all of us are talking together, one of the things that is commonly coming up is the idea of reacting, the idea of getting lost in this external world. And so I was going through some testimonials that people sent to me. I've got about 700 of them now. I'm just sorting through them. And by the way, if you can, please, a lot of you have already messaged me with your testimonials, but if you can record a 30-second video of testimonial about what you've learned from here and what you've practiced from this channel and what you've experienced so that I can share it with the world, that will literally change the world. So please do that. But anyway, while in the Discord chat, that is the most common problem, is reacting. And I think what it comes down to most of the time is the idea that we just simply create. Now, I talk about this sometimes, but the world without is just a reflection of what's within, and reacting to the external world will simply impress it on the subconscious mind again and manifest it outward again. And so it becomes a literal vicious cycle over and over. Now, it doesn't have to be vicious because we can take that for positive things as well, such as manifesting, which if you are making your daily lists, which I'll leave a link somewhere about that. If you're making your daily list, then you should be coming up with a lot of manifestations on a regular basis. And if we react to those, that's a good thing because we will consistently be experiencing manifestation, which will bring us one step close to implementing it thoroughly and completely and cement it into our lifestyle, and also mastering of manifesting. But one of the things that is constantly forgotten is the idea that we forget that we manifest, right? We fall asleep so easily in this world. And so the system goes like this. We first created, then we forgot that we created, and then we battle our creations. And in the battling of our creations, we stay in that consistent, infinite loop of reaction. And sooner than later, the time span between our manifestations and our reactions gets so small that we fall sound asleep again and we're back to where we're started. And so what we must do is take the time every day. This is what I do every single day. I must reinforce in my mind that this world is only a replication of that which exists within my mind, within heaven, as it says in Scripture. So when we imagine something, anything that we imagine, any inner conversations that we have, any memories that we replay, any feelings that we kind of allow to permeate inside of us, anything we write down, basically anything that we dwell upon in our imagination will be experienced outward in the exact manner from which we have spoke it or thought it or felt it. So it's important. A couple things are important here, and this is really, these few simple steps are going to change everything. The first rule that I have is always take a minute to realize that fact, that this is all a manifestation. Now, if you haven't got there yet and you don't understand that this is all a manifestation, and I don't mean metaphorically, I mean literally, every single individual piece of our life has been manifested by us. Now, that does not mean that we went in and specifically chose it specifically, but what it means is that a belief, can bring in a big portion of your world, right? Like people are nice to me, I'm surrounded by wealth, or I'm surrounded by poverty. Beliefs will automatically bring in tons of portions of your experience, I guess you could say. Also, deliberate thoughts can make one-off manifestations or big manifestations, like fears or just inner conversations that you have with yourself are consistently creating. And then feelings and moods and the way that you think about other people are also shaping the way that you experience this world. So every single day, and I do this multiple times, but I suggest you at least do it once, or when you find yourself reacting, take a moment to realize that regardless of what it is that you're experiencing, no matter how much it sucks, or no matter how much it's awesome it is, this is your creation. Now, the world will stay the way it is, especially if you react to it. So the key and the solution here is to not react to your external world if you want it to settle and change. I'll repeat that again. If you want to stop experiencing negative things in your world, then one of the keys is to simply stop reacting. Now, it's not as simple, it's simple but not easy sometimes, but you can also manifest that you're non-reactive by simply writing it down or creating a subconscious mind tape. But being reactive will perpetuate the world. And so the first step would be to stop reacting, which means to take a step back and realize what's going on, right? Which is basically the statements that I said before, like realize that you have created the whole thing. It sometimes makes it easier to stop reacting. And then once you can do that, the next step is to change the things that you're reacting to continuously. So if you find a pattern that you are consistently manifesting over and over and over, then that's a perfect indication for growth. Now, despite how contrary to common belief, the negative things that pop up in my life, I'm actually grateful for because I take note of them, I write them down, and then later on, I will manifest the removal of it. Now, if you consistently do that, and I mean you do that for every single thing, and it might sound tiring and exhausting, but those things which repeat or those things that come up, eventually, if you keep marking them down and then uprooting them by imagining that you no longer have them, which I guess a technique for that would be to imagine you are the opposite of that. You don't say like, I am not sad. You would say, I am always happy or something of the like, right? So you try to uproot it, right? So again, the first step is to take a step back, realize that you've created everything. The second step is to identify those things which are continuously manifesting. The third step is to uproot them and manifest the opposite of them. Now, if you can do these 3 simple steps, which is continuously understanding that the world without is a reflection of the world within, and you can change everything on the inside and it will be met with a manifestation on the outside. And if while you imagine that, after you imagine that and before it comes, you stay non-reactive, the results you will get will come extremely fast. So plan out what you want, keep your eyes open, realize that the negative things that you're encountering in this world is only a projection of your mind. It's only a projection of the awareness that lives within you. So you take this and you utilize this for your own good. You start bringing into your imagination and your mind the things that you want to experience. If you can shift your mind even 1 degree per day, which means instead of having those negative thoughts, you have 1% less thoughts. Eventually, it's like a plane in flight. Eventually, the flight path will be so far away that you won't even realize what happened. For me, just to let you know what happens when you continuously do this, when I began this journey, I was completely screwed. I always say that. I was extremely, terribly depressed. I would say at the bottom of the depressed. I was indigent. I was addicted. I had no friends. I was in trouble with the law. I kept ruining all my relationships, romantic and non-romantic. And I kept building things up and they kept collapsing. So it was a very special kind of hell, as one of my friends says. And just doing this slowly but surely, right? My mind used to be completely inundated. I used to always react to the external world, always reacting to the external world. It's a miracle really that I was even able to shift them 1 degree at a time, but bite size is really good. And if you continue to maintain the bite size shift, which means change only 1 degree, 1% of your thoughts, and eventually over time, you'll be a new creation. So now in contrast to that person who I always said the curtains were closing, no one thought I was gonna make it. Now it is so easy to identify a negative thought because I have very few of them. I no longer live in anxiety and fear. I have proper self-confidence. I know my manifestations work, so I know I have all power. I have money, I have friends, I have family, I have relationships, I have everything that I could not have even dreamt of that it seemed like a normal person had. I remember back before all this began, I used to look at people in the world and I used to have I'm talking about extreme resentment against them because I did not understand how they were all able to keep it together. I didn't understand how they were all normal. Now, obviously there's no such thing as normal, but I was in such a low, desperate, pathetic place that any change would have been completely astronomical. Now, in the end, what I tried to master doing was non-reaction. And that simply means to understand who I am. I am the creator. I am the operant power of my experience. And so everything that I'm experiencing is my responsibility. Now, if we don't have a solution, then saying this is my responsibility is, let's just say people won't take it, right? They won't take it very well. But having the solution and then realizing that everything is my responsibility, it's actually a golden ticket to success. We have the world in front of us. We can do whatever we want. And all we need to do is take a step back, stop reacting, and then bring into our imagination the wish fulfilled as if it already happened. And we will begin to change the world tremendously. Persistently do this, persistently go at it, continuously take notes, modify the things that you experience in this world and uproot them, and you will watch as your world changes tremendously. As you do that, imagine your tremendous desires, imagine the big desires, bigger than you could think is even possible, because you'll watch over the span of time in its own way, in its own appointed hour, everything that you have imagined will unfold in the perfect pattern, and you will receive that which you set out to receive. So I hope this was informative. I hope this helps a little bit as to how I perceive the world, to not react. The keys are just to simply realize that we're creating it, take a step back, take notes of the things that we want to change, and then imagine the opposite, the positive things for them. And this should help us. And then imagine that we're non-reactive as well. So I hope you like this video. Subscribe, hit the bell icon, hit the like button, and stay tuned for more. Thank you so much.